I was so pissed because I was just over it.
I think we need to address your crying fit.
And then my only regret that I replay in my head so many times.
Hi everyone, welcome back to me and Ivy's podcast. Today we have two very special guests on. We have Kendra number 517 and Maddie number 852 from Beast Games. Two very iconic girls. We all grew very close in the game, so we're excited to talk to them about their journey throughout Beast Games. So to get us started, I kind of want to look back on your guys' little storylines and discuss some major plot points that went down. So I'm gonna, episode 1 and 2, we don't need to talk about that. Let's go into episode 3. Let's start with Maddie, because you got a good amount of screen time in episode 3. You were in the party box, right?
Oh man, those cubes. Yeah, I was in the party cube with Lincoln and Landry, so very catchy there. That was a tough episode, and there was so much content. I know multiple people have talked about it, right, that I feel like was missed. I would love to see everything that they recorded from, like, the other boxes. That's when stuff got kind of, like, it had been crazy, but you guys know, I think, was it the day before... or the night before, I've talked about it before with Jeff, was like the epic dance party. Like
Beast. Yeah, we didn't really cover that too much.
Beast City After Dark was a whole moment, but it was like the highlight of my Beast Games experience, because I think Jeff and I cried, we laughed so hard that we were in tears, like we were in pain because we were laughing so hard. It was just everyone was delirious. The music was cringy and great. But then we have those cubes. I was standing next to the boys, obviously, which, by the way, my husband's made fun of me. He's like, you're so good friends with them, but you're in no shots with them. I was like, yeah, well, I got cropped out of, like...
Yeah.
No.
So, but during that, when we picked for the sack race, the boys all got together and they kind of looked at me, and it was Matt and Patrick and Brennan, and they were like, Mads. And I was like, guys, it's fine. Like, honestly, I'm over it. Like, I don't care. It's fine. We thought it was like no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know Landry very well at all. Interesting
situation. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you guys knew each other going into it.
No, totally like random. So my helicopter was kind of random people, and so was my team for cubes, which just played into the whole chance, like part of everything for me, right? Which kind of explains stuff, foreshadowing like down the road my choices. But yeah, the cubes were they could have been brutal. There was so much content that our cube had before they started filming. Landry decided to self-sacrifice, like, before we started filming.
Wow. No game or anything?
No. Y'all remember they were feeding us and everything? We were in there for a hot minute, and it was getting actually, like, hot. We were getting actually, like, cooked in there. Like, there was fun. So during that time, we started talking about it, and everybody, like, shut down, and it was super strange. And I really had to bite my tongue. Lincoln is, like, a nice guy, but... we knew he had been on Beast videos before. He's won before. He won $500,000, I believe. I was like really trying to like keep my mouth shut, which is hard for me. The older I get, the easier it is. But I was like, I wanted to like take my ears off and be like, you need to leave, dude. Like, you've already won money. Like, get out of here. But I was like, that's not going to help like at all. And so I was just kind of quiet, and we told a little bit about our lives. And then Landry, if you've met her, she's like real life Disney princess. Was just like, I hate sad things. I'll go if we just have like the best party ever the whole time. And Lincoln and I were like, okay, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. She was like, I want costumes, I want this, I want that. And we were like, sure, whatever you want, Landry. So
that's crazy. So she literally didn't have a reason to leave. She was just like, I'll do it.
Yeah, she just is that kind of person. She has that kind of heart.
That's so
just
sweet.
Such a sweet girl. Yeah, like it just suited her really well. But I got lucky in that extent, right? I was right across from Jeff and Priyanka and Chris, which is interesting. Were you guys like in your cubes, like trying to peek?
Yeah. My cube was we had all the dogs shitting in our cube, so our windows were open the whole time. Yeah, so we were like able to see other people. Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a horse though. Like,
I can't believe there was a horse still.
I know.
And they had it on deck. I don't know.
It was Chandler and his wife. You remember the husband and wife couple?
Oh yeah. I think so.
So him and his wife, I think. They ended up taking money, both like $13K. I was like, smart move. They got
I saw that.
Oh, they both took it? That's super smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I was like, that is really smart.
Yeah.
Kendra, why didn't you and Piper do that?
With the money?
Yeah.
Well, because we already had our helicopter, so we were already like, we didn't even have that option.
Oh yeah.
But let me tell you, we talk about this all the time. When it comes to like the whole mental, physical, and chance thing, we do regret picking chance. Because if me and her were to go in mental and go after Akira, and get offered the 50K, like, we would have gone against each other and then just keep on stacking the 50K as many rounds as we could, so at least one of us would go home with at least 50K.
Right.
But that did not happen.
Yeah.
Can we just, like, the whole, like, if that situation, like, I was having a conversation with Jeff and Patrick earlier today, and I was literally like, don't want to give any spoilers, but if you've seen the newest episode, I was just like, what if this was different and it was this person, not this person? Like, what would you have done? Like, everything would have played out. And Chance, like, Kendra, I totally regret doing Chance as well. And I think that's why I was so upset when I got eliminated. And that's why I don't have my jersey or anything, because I was so pissed, because I was just over it. I was like,
Yeah.
what in the world? Like, I genuinely, people don't understand why we picked Chance. And I was like, we thought we might be rewarded. Like, am I delusional for saying
know.
that? We all thought we might be rewarded.
Because Chance was the thing where we knew, like, less about, because mental we knew was gonna be brains and all that, and then physical, you're gonna use, like, your strength and all that, but Chance, it had the question mark, so it could have been literally anything, but it did end up just being, like, high risk, high reward, and unfortunately, it was high risk for us.
There was no way it would be more than half of us, so we're like, okay, we'll, like, take those odds. Freaking 12.
Yeah, I know.
So unfortunate. So
It still
unfortunate.
haunts me.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, Kendra, you said you would have picked mental. I would have picked physical, like 100%. If I would have known that it was a team physical challenge against the, like,
Yeah.
I saw all the dudes and I was like, dude, there's no way.
Mhm. I
No
think
way. So
if
I would have picked it.
if I were doing it alone, I think I would repick and do physical, but having Piper there, I feel like we really could have used that to our advantage, and by picking mental, at least one of us would go home with a lot of money, so
Right.
With the brothers, they could have ran it back.
yeah.
I
They
can't believe,
should've.
dude, they should have done that. I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah.
Guaranteed one of
Mhm.
you goes through. I don't get that. Still don't get it.
I think
Yeah.
because they were just so confident that they were both gonna make it through.
Yeah.
Oh, and they queued it up for them too. He even was like, if you did this, you both have this chance. And he just like, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Kendra, I don't know if I've ever heard your cube story. Were you in there with
Really?
Piper?
Yeah, it was me, Piper, and then Casey. Did you guys ever meet Casey?
No, but
Yeah,
I've heard
She
that name,
was
yeah.
she was awesome. We met her in Vegas, so she was, like, part of our whole Vegas crew, and so we all went in there together, and she ended up sacrificing herself for Piper and I. Like, we were all just crying together. Our heads were, like, in our arms like that, and then I think it was the last, like, 20 minutes maybe, and she just got up and went right to the handcuffs and handcuffed herself. And we were, like, trying to stop her, and she was like, "No, no, like, you guys need to go as far as you can together. Like, I'm gonna do this now. I'm not changing my mind." It was really sad. Like, we were crying the entire time.
Aw,
But, yeah, they didn't show any of it.
that's so sad.
Dude, that's so sad.
I know. But because of her, like, we made it pretty far, so
Yeah. Together
just
too.
crazy to
Which is
see.
like in my opinion, if you're in there as a duo, like it's a huge accomplishment to make it that far. Like you and Piper made it,
Yeah.
and like the Hey Baby brothers, like the fact that you both made it through is crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Imagine you and Piper were top two.
I wish. That would've been the dream.
Yeah.
That would have such been the dream. You could just, like, off the record, like, split it.
Yeah.
No, we talked about that before going in. We were like, if we actually get close to winning it, like, obviously we're gonna like, if one of us wins, that means we're both winning, so
Right.
but that did not happen.
Now, moving into episode 4, you guys both won the glass ball challenge, which congrats
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a little before that, Maddie, I think we need to address your crying fit after Jeremy.
Oh,
After Jeremy made his choices.
somebody made a reel to make fun of me.
No.
Make fun of you.
I'll send it to you guys. I'll be like, I was like, look, Mom, I made it. Annie sent it to me. It was like some random page, and they were like, this lady thought she could fake cry for a second chance at $5 million. And it's like the clip of me, like,
Oh my
on
god.
that. It was like, wow, I feel like I've made it. This is really like an honor. Like, I'm not actually offended at all.
That's true.
Yeah, so like what were you
Um,
kind of feeling in that moment? Explain the tears.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that everyone is I've gone into Reddit when I'm bored, right? Like we all have. Everybody's ragging on the emotions being so high, and like some people get it, some people don't. But the context of everything is, yeah, emotions are so high because everything's like compacted and then like drawn out, right? So like so much
Mhm.
drama in a short amount of time, but then we have so much downtime, and people don't realize that like the sequence of events. So the day that the helicopters happened, and the night before I got on helicopter 6, Patrick and Jeff left with with Jeremy. And I'm like super emotional in that scene and everything like that. They don't show enough of the context from the cubes to explain that the night before is when the cubes happened. Like the night before is when one of my best friends went home in a cube with Patrick and Brennan, 7-11 and 9:30. So Matt was next to me. He was 8:51. So he was like next to me on our like pillars and everything. So we became really good friends. But I was already like emotionally just screwed from that and just tired. And then that happened. And I was just like actually sad because I was one of the people that was down by Daphne during the counting challenge. And I was like actually pissed that she did that because I was just like, why would you do that? Like I'm such like a person of not compromising your character, and it's such a like malicious thing to do. It just really pissed me off. And so the fact that he chose her to just like, I'm one of those people, if I get upset enough, like, or mad enough, I'm gonna cry. Because I was just like,
same.
And Jeremy picking Daphne was it for me. But they also made it look like I was upset, and like Annie was upset that Jeremy didn't pick us, which is wrong. They edited that wrong. We were upset that Jeff didn't pick us. Like,
who Jeff ended up picking?
Jeff had to pick Patrick. He only had one to pick. But like Jeff and I have had candid conversations, and like if Jeff had more than one ticket, he would have taken me and Patrick. Like, and I know that, but it's just interesting they used that to their advantage. That part of the edit, it made it look like it was Jeremy. I didn't think Jeremy would pick me. I thought maybe, but he could have picked like Carmen or Ozzy or Nelly. Like so many people.
I was shocked when they didn't pick Ozzy or Nelly.
Me too.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched our podcast with Jeff and Jeremy, Maddie, but Jeff did say like he had a really hard time choosing between you and Patrick when he was choosing.
Oh, I watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, Jeff, this is music to my ears because I knew it. It was redemptive. No, I know that he said that. Jeff is such a good friend of mine, so it's like there was no hard feelings. When they interviewed me, I was crying like that, almost lost my voice, right? Because we've been filming the night before so late. And I was just like genuinely sad. Like they wanted me to be like pissed at them. And I was not. Annie was pissed. I was the opposite. I was like distraught because I just wanted to go with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been the same way too.
Yeah. And that makes you more stressed for the future challenges because it's like your people already left, so you're left with people that you don't know as well. So it definitely makes it harder.
Yeah, and especially since a lot of the challenges were like choosing who comes with you, knowing that your group's already gone. It's like, what are my odds that I get on a helicopter, right?
And then the next day, that whole fast fake friendship thing, I was not.
Oh my gosh.
We were
that was crazy.
Honestly, I think all of us were just like not about that. Because I remember they were trying to, they're like, why aren't you like hanging out at a table with a bunch of people? Like everyone's like hanging out in extra like groups. And I was like, because I'm not playing that game. I'm not doing that shit. That was exhausting.
No, I agree. I mean, it was so tricky because it's like you see people doing that and you're like, okay, maybe they are benefiting from it, but it's like if that's not the game you want to play, it's like just a sucky feeling. Context for the viewers, like after we found out you got to pick people, everybody kind of started acting fake towards each other and like trying to make new friends, but you could just tell it's because they wanted to be picked for a helicopter.
That's the thing, like everyone kind of knew each other's intentions when they were going and talking to different groups. You were like, I know why you're doing this, so just don't even try.
And I feel like anyone that tried to make a quote unquote like new friendship with anyone didn't get picked for, like that did not help anyone at all. Everyone already had their group set. Like people knew who they were gonna pick, so it was like pointless. And
they're gonna pick the people they've known the whole time. They're not gonna pick the people they met an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why it pissed me off when like people were like, bring a random. Obviously no one's gonna bring a random person with them.
Yeah.
Like why would you do that when you know you have friends that you want to bring with you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, going into your guys' glass ball challenge, I know I heard Kendra's story. I watched Corn's live stream, so I hear your story, but is there anything that you want to add that wasn't shown in the show or you didn't really talk about yet about that challenge? Or maybe just how you were feeling during it?
Honestly, so I remember it was like Akira and Korn were standing in the front towards where MrBeast was kind of giving the directions before we started the challenge. And then Piper and I were further back, kind of with like a different group of people. And as soon as they said to get in a group of 6 people, I was just like looking around and it just looked like headlights going right to Akira. Like he just looked like he was glowing and I was like, I have a feeling I need to go over to them. So Piper and I went over to Akira and we actually had 7 people over there at first. I don't know if you guys know Wilbert. Do you know him?
Yeah, actually, I think I do.
He was like 5'19" maybe, so he was close to me on the platforms. And so he was actually originally in our little group of 7, but then we were like, we don't know if this is the smartest thing to do because MrBeast was saying, yeah, we'll figure out what to do after the challenge. And we were like, I feel like they would elaborate on that more, but they didn't, so that probably does not mean it's good. And so he was like, you know what, it's fine, like, I'll go find a different group. And so he left, and then that left the 6 of us. It was me, Akira, Corn, Piper, Colton, and Emma. And I pretty much, like, I had all my faith in Akira. Like, I saw him, he was very confident too, and at first we were saying he should hold the glass ball for, I think we said like 10 minutes and let all the other teams kind of transfer their thing and try to bring it to the back of the line in front. And we were like, let's just let the other teams mess up first, and then we can maybe start passing it. But as time went on, we were like, okay, wait, maybe it'll be smarter if he just tries to hold it out the whole time. I don't know. What was yours, Maddie? Like, were you guys planning on doing that the whole time, or?
Yeah, so it was interesting. First, I will swear on anything, Akira's ball had a damn flat spot. I will say it till the day.
He was very still with it.
You guys were a few over, I think, to like the left of us.
Yeah.
So we have like, if you've seen any of like Brennan's content, right? He said it's like this ragtag team of people that kind of meshed up. Well, when Patrick and Jeff left on the helicopter the night before, Brennan and I were like, we have to stick together because they were part of our like friend group, right? Alliance. And so we were like, whatever we do for this team challenge, like we're going to stick together so that if we go through together. So we were sticking together, but we couldn't find anybody else like to go with because our people were gone. So we were like, crap, man, because everyone already had their groups and didn't want to take chances on other people. And we were like, okay. So we ended up in the middle, and Mia was there with Jazz, and Janicia was there with Arnold. And the only one I didn't know of that group was Arnold. He was the only like not a familiar face for me. Mia and I sat on a bus in Vegas like for hours and talked like back and forth. So I knew Mia at that point. And Jazz and I, we were in the same cabin, I think. So it wasn't anything like out of the ordinary. Janicia has 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters. Like we had definitely talked in the hotel about that. So we weren't a random team, like Brendan said. It was like that, like wasn't true. Actually totally new people, but definitely different personalities. When we were gonna start, Brennan wasn't going to start.
Really?
No, Jazz was going to start. And the reason why Brennan ended up starting is because before we started, he was like, well, I mean, I used to balance like ping pong balls on a paddle when I was like in high school. And I was like, of course you did, you freaking weirdo. That's like exactly what I said. I was like, you would. Like, of course you did. But I was like, listen, guys, Brennan needs to start. And he needs to hold it for as long as he can. And I said, Klitz always says, don't break the game. But we're not breaking the game if we hold it the entire time. So that was my thought from the get-go, because I don't know if y'all remember, it was like very windy and like there was no shot. There was just no shot that it was going to get passed back and forth and then held the entire time. So when I came up with that idea, it was going well. Everyone was seeing that it was working. They also didn't include in that whole entire part of the clip that the people in the stands that had already got out started harassing everybody.
Yes.
There was a group of 2 people, which I won't call out, but I know exactly who it was, who specifically said, pass the ball to Maddie or let Maddie drop it, was what they yelled.
What?
Like, there was people that were pissed that we weren't following the rules, but we were getting through. But they were yelling at people. They were saying, pass it, because no one wanted to send an empty helicopter.
Yeah,
I was
3
like,
of them. Yeah.
Yes. And then there was like, I swear there was less than a minute left when it was, I think his name is Chandler. If it's not Chandler, I don't know what it was. It was a C. You guys know who I'm talking about, the husband and wife team. But they were over there and like the pressure got to them. They were like, crap, we have to actually pass it. So they started passing it. And as soon as I was just in Brennan's ear the whole time, you're fine. Lock it in. Don't pass it. Don't pass it. Mia starts yelling at me. They don't show any of this. Mia starts yelling at me, saying, Maddie, he needs to freaking pass it. None of them know Brennan. None of them trust Brennan. I'm like vouching and fighting him off and saying, no, Brennan's got it. He'll pass it to me when he knows he can't. Like, he's got it. He's got it. Someone else is going to fold and pass before. The team next to us did with like 20 seconds left. I swear it was super close.
It was so intense.
But yeah. Mia, I don't think she was a huge fan, because at one point when we were in that challenge, I literally looked at her and yelled at her and told her to shut up. And then afterwards, I apologized for saying shut up. But yeah, it was just, it wasn't that it actually happened, and it was pretty crazy.
I remember I kept looking over, because I was second in our line, and I kept looking over at you guys, and I was like, okay, they still haven't passed it, so we're not going to pass it. Like, whatever they're...
I know, we were like looking at you, like you and Piper and me were just like, okay, like...
we're just not going to touch stick. Like, that was so intense though.
Yeah,
I was so scared.
I do not blame you guys, because I'll own up to it. I was one of the people on the stand saying pass it to everybody. But in y'all's position, no shot. Like, no
Yeah.
way. Like, you're not gonna risk it. So
Yeah, we were like 30 seconds away from the possibility of getting a golden ticket. Like, we
Yeah.
did not want to ruin that within the last 30 seconds because we had already made
absolutely.
it pretty much 30 minutes. And I was like, Akira is not doing this for nothing. Like, we're going to stand strong. Someone else is going to budge and someone is going to break their ball, but it's not going to be us.
Right.
Well, and Ivy, like, that's true to a point too, because I just remembered, like, it wasn't just one helicopter that was going to be empty. It would be all like 3 of them, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, if no one made it within or whatever, yeah, and hadn't dropped
Very
it,
island.
and that's what they said, and that's when everyone started losing it.
So we all got on helicopters to the island. Yay for us, top 60. I want to dive into a little bit of our island memories. I want to start out with a memory. Maddie, you were there. Ivy, you were there. Kendra, I don't think you were there, but it was right when they were filming us our reactions to the island and seeing everything at first, and we tried on our outfits, and they had like our dorm and then Maddie's dorm run out to each other and be like, "Oh my gosh, you look so sick! Like this outfit's so awesome!" And we were hyping it up so much. Meanwhile, we're in basketball shorts and a t-shirt. Like,
Blue polyester fire, like.
I see why
I can't
now
believe
that
they didn't
didn't
put
go
that
in.
in.
Yeah, I see why it's not there.
It's probably my fault. I was probably sarcastic. I literally probably was like, I've never like
Oh my
worn
gosh.
this way ever.
And then remember
never looked so
when
good.
remember when they were like, we said something about, oh, there's a volleyball court, like let's go play, and we mentioned the volleyball court, and then they were like, wait, can you say that again, but say like let's go play and then run off? We're like, yeah. It was so funny. We're like, but I heard they have a volleyball court. They're like, no way, really? Let's go. Oh, that
There's
was so
so many
funny.
things where I'm like, I wonder, like, okay, did the cramp, like, at some point, did the camera people, like, troll us? Like, they have free time, we have free time. They're like, let's, like, make them think we're recording some epic, like, content.
Right.
Just because we're bored. Like,
No, sometimes I think about that because I'm also comparing it to like at the LA premiere, right? Remember? Oh, well, Maddie, I'm sorry you weren't there. But they had us walk in and then every single person took a photo in front of the backdrop with guards. And then we never got those photos. And I was like, so
Yeah.
were they faking that? Or were they just doing that to make us feel
Right.
cool? I don't know. Because we never, and like, what are they doing with those photos? Absolutely nothing. I don't know why they didn't
Yeah.
share them. So yeah, there's like
Yeah,
moments
we
like that
should've
where it's
those.
like, are they just messing with us? I don't know.
Make us feel special.
So yeah, do you guys have any island memories that you want to bring up or talk about?
I just remember during like our entire stay on the island, I had no voice. And I had never
Oh,
lost my voice
yeah.
like that before. Like, I would be trying to talk to you all and like I literally just could not. And that had never happened to me before. And I was like, you know what? Of course it's like whenever cameras are on me trying to get me to talk, and I would be like, talk. Like, it was so hard. But it was about whenever we came back from the island that I finally got my voice back. But I was like, of course I lose my voice while we're on the island, like vacationing and everything.
At least you didn't
Oh
have
my
to
God.
talk to the camera that much, because that would have sucked.
Mhm. I know.
They did interview all of us though.
I
They
know,
did
but they
so
didn't.
many interviews that we're never gonna see, guys. That like peeves me. I wanted to see everybody's
know.
personal interviews because I just would like love to. I wish they could give us some like off file footage of
Me
everything.
too. Me
Oh,
too. I
No.
heard they just did that on the island to like try to hear the drama about who's like the villain and
Get to
stuff.
know our connections.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, they were pranking us once again. They're like, "Oh, here's our solo moment." Just kidding. We're using it to
Nope.
find out the drama.
One of the things I remember, you guys remember the storm? They showed it in the clip.
Mhm.
Oh, Maddie.
So
I know what you're gonna say.
So Bethany, right, who still has made it to this episode that was released most recently, she was in a cabin with myself and Annie, and we're in there, and in the middle of the night, you know, I'm the mom in the cabin. I have like the instincts. I like wake up. It's like this sixth sense, like you know someone's gonna puke as a mother. It just happens to you. And I like woke up and I remember, you know, those bunk beds. You have like this much space before you
Yes.
whack your
Mhm.
head. They were like not
Yeah.
meant to be stacked, I don't think. And so
Right.
I like shimmy on out of it. And sure enough, she like has gone into the bathroom and is just like throwing her guts up. She like gets up and she's like, "Do I feel okay?" And I'm like, "Come here, honey." And I'm like, "Oh, no, you don't feel great." Like she's burning up, like definitely has a fever. And it's like this huge storm is starting outside. So I literally like go outside and I was like, the dark, I'm like, Meredith, Bobby, Meredith, Bobby. And I'm like yelling for them in the area, the vicinity of their cabin until they finally were like, what? Like 2 a.m, guys, like in the middle of the night and it's pitch black. And I told them that she was like sick. They go out there. I'm like paranoid, don't want to get sick. So I'm like, I'm not going back in the cabin. Like, I'm just going to hang out here in like the kitchen area. And then as soon as like they got her settled and everything and had somebody like watching her and medic and whatever, they were going to try to sleep some more. The storm started. And Annie and I both were like, we're not going to get sick and let it take our chance of getting eliminated because we're sick. So we get kicked off. And so we're like, we have to sleep outside.
The worst storm ever.
Yeah.
So we made like little like chair beds in the eating area and we slept outside, and it was just like, it was almost comical because it's, you couldn't see very much but there's so much lightning. And then we'd be like, I was like, Annie, are you sleeping? And she'd be like, no. Are you sleeping? And I'd be like, no.
Oh.
She'd be like, can you go to the bathroom with me? Like, we were just so like, it was just very comical. So we had storm trauma bonding in Panama, but yeah, it was not great.
I can't believe you were outside sleeping in that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got like no sleep from that. I was just gonna say, I remember the next morning I woke up and we walk out and you're like, yeah, I slept out here. And I'm just like, what? Why?
What did they end up doing with Bethany?
Oh, well, that's why you lost your voice, I was saying, Kendra. Like, that's why I lost my voice in that other episode, too, is because we don't sleep very much. I was like, I don't include that we're talking all the time with each other and then don't sleep and then you lose your voice.
I know.
So Bethany, they ended up taking her to a doctor on a different island and getting her situated, like a bunch of tests and everything like that. And like they thought that she had nothing contagious and it was just dehydration, like, and from travel and exhaustion and everything. But yeah, it was crazy. They took her away with all her stuff. We thought she was like going home.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and then she came back. So it was pretty crazy. And I didn't really know her very well at all until that cabin experience. So, but she's a sweet girl. So she lives in Oklahoma where my brother lives.
She just announced that she's pregnant, right?
Yeah, she did. I saw that. So she already has, I think, 2 little boys. But she was, honestly, I love Bethany, but she was one of those ones that when I got eliminated, I was salty that she was still there for me. That was like a hard pill to swallow. Because I was like, damn, she didn't have like a strong social game, but she made it really far.
Yeah, because I didn't really talk to her much too before the island, and then like after she came back from the hospital, that's when I started talking to her a little bit more and like hearing her backstory and stuff.
Yeah, I think I only spoke to her like one time, so I really didn't know her that well.
Yeah, same here.
Ivy, do you have any random island things that you want to bring up?
Ooh, let's see. I have one. Maddie and Ava were part of this. The night when me and Ava were originally going to go look at the stars. And then it turned into like a full-on like strategy conversation, just us like lurking in like the shadows, literally. And then just more people would stumble upon us and we'd like switch up the conversation. Do y'all have like something to add from that moment? Because it was just so funny to me.
That was funny. I remember that.
What strategies were you coming up with?
Well, it was me and Patrick. We were in the trees strategizing, obviously. This should be no shocking.
In the dark. In the trees in the dark.
In the dark. In the pitch black, we were sitting there. And then I'm pretty sure that, like, Ava and Ivy were, like, walking by and we were like, hey, or we tried to scare you or something. We were doing some shenanigans. And then she just came and sat with us. And then I think Emma came over there, too.
Yeah,
right. We were all just, like, in the dark. And I'm pretty sure we were getting, like, eaten alive by some type of bug.
Oh, yeah.
I told Ava that I wanted to see a shooting star because I was like, the Panama skies, I was like, you're going to see one. And we were, like, in our strategy conversation. I think I was just, like, facing a different way. And Ava was, like, sitting next to me. And she'd be like, I just saw a shooting star. And I'd, like, turn and I'd be like, where? And then we'd get back talking. And she'd be like, I just saw another one. And I'd like look and it's just over. I think it happened like 5 or 6 times and I was like, Ava. I was like, we need to like switch or something. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, that was funny. I remember
The stars were so pretty on the island though.
They were.
And so bright.
I remember like the first night when we first saw the night sky and it was so clear. And then in the far distance, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was lightning going off. And it just looks so
the heat lightning?
Cool. Yeah, like really cool at night. That was awesome.
So I'm curious, because I'm curious, like Ivy and Ava, retrospectively, or all of you, would you guys have competed for the island?
No.
Like knowing like the odds of everything and how it all worked out, would you have changed that decision? No?
No, I don't think I would have, because I was so convinced we were going to swim. And even knowing like hindsight what they did do, I'm like, I don't think I had a good chance of winning it. So I'm glad. I'm happy with my decision to not compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at that point, whenever he said vacation, I was, like, so headstrong on getting that vacation because we'd been so stressed, like, after the cubes, after stressing about getting the golden ticket, like, that was just a lot of stuff to deal with, and I just love the idea of getting, like, the all-inclusive island and just being able to relax for once before starting up for more challenges.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I feel like, I mean, it would have been sick to compete for the island, it would have been sick. But yeah, I mean, I was the same. I had a split or like a little moment where I was like, this is Survivor time. Like, this is going to be all Survivor stuff. And then as soon as he said top 50 and a vacation, I was like, yeah, no thanks. Just kidding. Don't want it.
Yep.
Maddie,
So
would
Maddie,
you?
do you wish you had done it?
I don't know. Like, I go back and forth because it's just so much of it seems like it would have been chance. But it was just so interesting to me because, like, Mia and Brennan, the top two there, like, obviously, like I said, we were both on the same helicopter together. Like, we were all on the same helicopter. Like, it was just such an interesting situation how those character lines played out. I don't know if I would have chosen that. I still get hung up on the fact that I would have chosen something different than physical mental chance, like in that situation.
Yeah.
So that's a great transition actually into Chance and talking about your guys' unfortunate eliminations.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who dropped first out of you two.
Maddie.
Okay, so Maddie, how about you go first on just your overall feeling, how you felt when the wheel was spinning, and how you felt standing on the platforms during the game.
Yeah, so when we walked in and we saw those platforms, they hyped us up and they were like, we were waiting in the cars. People don't know this, right? It's like 2 a.m. before we started filming. Like, we have been waiting all day and it's like 2 a.m. So people ask, why didn't everybody switch platforms? Like, we were tired. Like, we weren't thinking clear. We were just wanting to get it done with. We were anxious. They were like, guys, this set is incredible. It is beautiful. Like, they said that to us and we were just like, wow, like, what are we gonna see? Like, what have they done in here?
Yeah.
We walked in and it was those damn platforms. I was like, are you beautiful? This is
They
not
were
beautiful.
hyping it up a lot. They were like, this is the best set. Like, you guys chose the best one. We were like, okay,
my
maybe we'll
God.
get rewarded.
I was so confused. And then seeing episode 2, I was like, wait, did they like use the same set for mental? Because it looks like they did. They just like repurposed like that.
Yeah, I
set.
think mental was on the other side of those black curtains.
And so when we walked in there and I saw that, I was just like, and I saw the wheel, that's when I was kind of like, yeah. Because I was like hoping it was going to be more complex than I assumed, which was that we're going to be spending for odds or something like that. We were just hoping that we at least had a 50-50 chance. But we really, really thought like the people that chose chance were some key people throughout the show this far. And I feel like a lot of us really thought like we're going last. Like, Jimmy's going to reward people for taking a chance, like insane people to take chance at this far in the competition. Like, and we just were deflated, like, when we found out what it was. It was so quiet. Like, everyone was just like, they had a screenshot that I took myself where I'm like, because I literally was like, what, like, this is what we have to do. Like, this is determining our fate. Like, it just seemed so anticlimactic and like out of our control that I was like, damn. We thought it was going to be briefcases at 1.2. I would have been okay with that. Like, pick a briefcase, half of you go, half of you stay. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
And then my only regret that I replay in my head about this so many times too is like, oh, well, there's two. When I get my right sleep and everything like that, I know scientifically, mathematically, your best odds in that game is to move every single time you have the opportunity to. Patrick and I have talked about it. It is. So there's been like equations on this before, but like your odds are best if you move every single time you have the opportunity to move. And so that's what should have been done, didn't do. Second is, Kendra, I always think about how we didn't ask Jimmy to test the wheel. I was like, why the hell did we ask him to test it? To be like, can you like put it on 5 and spin it and like we see where it lands? Because he probably would have entertained us if we asked him to do that. And I'm always like, damn, we were all like so anxious and tired that none of us thought like, hey, wait, like spin it one more time. Like, we want to see it work one more time. So we could have been like, oh, like, where does it land? Because it wasn't like a great wheel. It was
I know. I wish one of us spoke up about that and we're like, okay, that was like what it's supposed to do. Now do like the actual spin.
That's what I wanted to do because we didn't. He literally just did the spin. And I
And
was
wasn't
like,
that, I'm pretty sure, didn't he say that was his first time spinning the wheel? Like, he had never spun it before.
yes.
Yeah.
That's why,
It's
and like,
just,
that could have been not true, but that pissed me off when I thought about it retrospectively. I was like, it landed on almost the highest number because of where he started it. mathematically, if he would have
Mhm.
started it somewhere else with the way that I'm a nerd, guys, with the way that like he pulled it, it would have landed somewhere else.
I know. Like, if he used just a little more power, then it could have gotten, like, to the 500K or even the lower numbers. But it was
Yeah.
so weird because it was going so fast, and then, like, it was going very fast, and then all of a sudden it just, like, really slowed down right about at, like, 10, I think, and then it almost went to 16, and then it somehow went back. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
And like, I'm curious. I know we all have different reasons, but I want to know why you picked Chance.
I picked Chance because I thought, like, up to that point, I didn't feel like I really did anything to get there. The most complicated challenge we did was building the blocks on the platforms. Like, that was what I individually did, and that got me to the next point. But everything else, it was kind of like luck of the team you're on, luck of the friends you've made, and such. And so I was like, you know what? Chance has kind of gotten me to this point. So I feel like maybe it'll help me get to the next challenge. And plus, with physical, we didn't know it was gonna be teams, and I was thinking it was gonna be everyone for themselves, and so I was like, "I don't know if I wanna go against, like, all the tall, buff guys." So I was like, "I'm gonna leave that to them." And then mental, I was just like, if I were to get out on mental, like, I would be mad at myself for feeling too dumb about something and not knowing something, and that would, like, haunt me forever. Not to, like, say that to you and, like, Ivy and Ava,
Mhm.
but yeah, I don't know.
That's the same thought process I have. But like, funny story. Do you guys remember we came back from Panama and we were all like, I guess some of the listeners and viewers like wouldn't know this, but we came back from Panama. Canada had like super bipolar weather the whole time we filmed. So it was like warm and then cold, and then we went to Panama.
Mhm.
We all got slightly tanned and like burned, and then we came to Canada again, and it was freezing, like
So
freezing
cold.
cold. And they like knew we were freezing cold, and before we were gonna pick for this part of the challenge, they handed out beanies. We
Mhm.
found out they had beanies somewhere, they were handing them out. I am a beanie girl. Like, I was stoked. And I just remember being like, this is like the best news since like sliced bread. Like, we get beanies, like, this is sick. So I'm like running over to get a beanie. They have those like production cords, and I totally eat shit. Like, eat shit in
Oh.
the gravel, like, skid all my elbow,
Mhm.
everything. Somebody saw. I forget who it was you know who it was? I think it was Yessie.
No.
She saw it and she goes, "Oh, Maddie," like, and I was like, "I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm fine." Get up, totally fine. Was not fine. I am, a 30-year-old. I was not fine. And I was like, damn, like, I am, like, actually kind of hurting. And then that was, like, 20 minutes before we had to choose. And I was like, God, I hear you. Not doing physical. Not doing it. It was like, that is definitely my sign to not do physical. And that's why I ultimately didn't do it, because I would have gone with the guys. I would have gone with Patrick and Jeff. But that was, like, the nail in the coffin for me. And I didn't choose mental because I was too terrified that it was going to be something psychological. And when I
Yeah.
saw who was doing it, like the
Mhm.
Habibi brothers and everything, I was just like, nah.
Like,
Like, I
that's
don't
where
know
all
what
the
to watch.
drama went to, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I have like a vivid memory, Maddie. I feel like you'll remember this. A group of us sitting at like a table when we got back from Panama, and I can't remember if it was after we chose like our categories, like the next day, or if it was just when we saw the doors and we were like laying out everybody's names and trying to figure out every single like alliance. Do y'all remember that? I feel like we
I
all might have
remember
been
hearing about that piece of paper.
because I feel like that played a role in like how I chose. I don't know.
Low-key, I think that was after, because didn't we list them out as in who was in physical, who's in mental, who's in chance,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, did we? Okay, I
Am
couldn't
I right about
remember.
that or no?
Yeah. No, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the night after physical left, we had the whole next day, right? And so we were all
Mhm.
hanging out. Mental and Chance was hanging out. And that's when Patrick was gone. So I had to take over with strategizing. So I got my notebook out and we wrote everybody that
Yeah.
was in each group. And like, if it was half and you had to choose people who would go, we were just like theorizing in our
Mhm.
heads.
Yeah, like if
I
it
do know
was
what you're talking about.
teams.
Yeah, but Ivy, I think
Mhm.
I think on the plane there was lists like that. Because I feel like on the plane coming back from Panama is also when people started being like, okay,
Right.
because true colors were shown. Like, who did they vote for to get off the
Mhm.
island?
And
Yeah,
we were definitely not the only ones doing that. I remember seeing someone's piece of paper and it had like all these numbers written down in different sections, and I was like trying to like look over. I was like, what is that about?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember it was at the moment where we were like, okay, so if it's teams and we're talking about mental, like who would pick who? Like who would be with
Mhm.
who? And then there was one person,
Yeah.
not dropping names, but there was one person that like came up. I asked them, okay, what side would you go to? And they were basically just like, oh, I don't know, like I'm not gonna say. And then basically just walked away. And I was like, okay, so now you're suspicious. Like, what was that? Because if they were on our side in our alliance, why wouldn't you just say, oh yeah, I would be on that team? Because basically it was like Habibi versus everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
sus that you would say that and be like, oh, I don't know, and then just walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that so vividly because me and Ava were on the same like section, like, okay, if it happens, we're teaming up. And then we were like pointing at her or something. We're like, so you would be here, right? And he was like, I don't know. And then I was like, what?
Sus. Yeah.
That was so sus.
But then it started it didn't cause any drama, but I remember some people were like, oh, why are they doing that? Like, why are they like trying to think this out? It's like, what else are we gonna do? I mean, you gotta strategize something, and all we're thinking about is the game coming up, so we were just like so wrapped up in figuring out if it's teams, how is this gonna go? If it's not teams, how's it gonna go? So yeah. Before we move to Kendra's kind of drop story, Maddie, do you want to talk about the exact moment you were dropped? And like, did you know it was coming? What happened?
Start switching.
Yeah. So when I was dropped, they compiled it in a scene with, I think it's Piper, and then Kendra's like, oh no, and then it's Monty, and then it's me. So they have like all three of us, which I don't know if that was actually the order that we dropped.
Yeah, I think they switched up the order.
Yeah, but I just know I picked my platform. There was no strategy in choosing those boxes. Like, you just picked one, right? So I just went with one. And I went with one that was right in front of me because in Vegas, I got a briefcase right in front of me and I was safe. That was my rationale. I don't know why, but like, this is what we do after being on Beast Games, right? We correlate those things. So that was the reason why. We have the option every five opens of the boxes to move, I believe it was. And I remember specifically, it did not move. Only Piper and Monty moved. And Karl he was trolling me hardcore. He was like right in front of me because I was in the front. And he was like trying to talk to me and like say something. And he goes, Maddie. And he looks at me. And I know, Ivy, you're going to laugh. But he goes, Maddie, like, are you sure you're not going to move? And I was just like, yeah, like, I'm not going to move. And he goes, okay. And like walks off. And like all of a sudden, guys, he walks off. And I kid you not, it's like, the camera right in my face, and I was just like, I'm done, cooked, completely. And I knew that was going to happen because I think Piper did drop before me, and I had seen them do that to her because I was like right here, and Piper was like down here, and I remember like watching her and looking at all the people in the cameras and trying to guess, like, to get hints. And that I saw multiple like focus on her before they dropped again. And I was like, okay, so that definitely means you're going. And then when I dropped, I was just like pissed, dude. I was like, oh yeah, I went in this stupid box. And I was kind of mad because like in episode 1, I was like, they're gonna let us drop after for fun. Like it's gonna be awesome. They're gonna let us drop. And I know, like, Ava, you felt the same way. We were like, I want to, like, this looks sick. Like, I want to try it. This looks fun. I was like, what a waste if we don't get to. They're gonna let us, and then they didn't. And then to come back and get eliminated that way, I was like, not funny. Not funny. Like,
not funny, guys.
I remember Joanna, like, who's one of Karl's friends, right? She's so sweet. She walked me like all the way to like the area that you would go to, like, off board from Beast Games essentially, and she was so sweet. I was just like, tell Patrick and Jeff I'm sorry, because I was just like, damn, I made it so far. We didn't know if they made it yet, so it was just psychologically, mentally, I was like broken at that point. I was so done.
Yeah. Kendra, were you kind of feeling the same way, or how are your emotions going out?
I feel like once the wheel hit 12, I was like, okay, it's like over for most of us now. So I kind of had it in my mind. I was like, it's gonna be okay when I drop and if I drop. So, because I didn't want to like get my hopes up and be like, you know what? I mean, I'll make it through. Like, 4 of us will make it through. I'll be one of them. I obviously wanted that to happen, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. So I was like telling myself over and over, I was like, it's gonna be okay when I drop. But the one thing that bothers me is the platform behind me. That one never dropped, and I was considering moving back there, and then also considering moving to the one right in front of the money, because then I was like, you know what, I'll just look right at the money and hope that I stay up here and I don't drop at all. And that one also didn't drop. But the reason why I stayed was because my lucky number is 3, and that was the 3rd one back. And so I was like, you know what? This is where my heart told me to go right off the bat, so I'm gonna just stay here. But it didn't really work out.
Dang. Does that like hang over you? Like the fact that those two didn't close?
Yes, especially because when the episode came out, it kind of did like that. You could see like all of the platforms and what was red and what was white. And I just saw like each one that I thought about maybe moving to, they were white. And I was like, dang it. But you never know. Like maybe I would have been the last one to drop. Like that could have happened too.
True, yeah. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Not a fun one.
Anyways, guys, let's not dread on our eliminations. I mean, we had a good time. We made lifelong memories, lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Talking on that and just kind of wrapping up things. Did you enjoy your time on Beast Games, and would you go back for season 2?
Personally, yes, definitely. Like I have made lifelong friends through Beast Games, and I mean, it was like the one time you could stop caring about anything happening in the world, and you literally were just like with everyone around you. All you were doing was talking to each other. Like we literally had no worries other than what the next challenge was going to be. So honestly, like I had a great time, and I think I've made like the best of friends through doing it.
How about you, Maddie?
I mean, I feel the same. I said it from the start. It wasn't even about the money for me. It was about the experience and like the relationship opportunities, and they've just been so like crucial to so many things. Not to make this sappy or sad or anything, but you guys know, like I lost my dad like a month after getting back from Beast Games super unexpectedly, and the amount of support that I felt from the people and the friends from Beast Games was like, it like surpassed friends that I've had for much longer periods of time, just because we got so close. And I feel like that's what people don't understand, like the magnitude and the heightened emotions is because we become so close. And you know, I work 40-50 hours a week. I have 4 kids. I have a husband. Like life is absolutely crazy. And I am only 30. So my whole 20s was just like having babies. I've never been in an experience where it's like I can dissociate from having to take care of everybody else so much and just like focus on myself. So it was really like eye-opening for me in that aspect, but like definitely something that I wouldn't trade for like the world, right? Totally would do it again. We'll see when they're filming. I might be filming Survivor season 49.
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
As you should.
so it depends on the filming and you know the overlap in the NDAs, but I
Yeah.
definitely would do it again.
Yeah, catch Maddie in Fiji with Jeff Probst.
Yeah, with the lit torch.
Yeah, and like kind of bouncing off of that, like Maddie, it's kind of funny that you say like it was a time. Obviously, it was, and it was a time where you could kind of focus on yourself. But in my opinion, how you were in the games, like you cared about everybody. You were always looking out for everybody. And I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I've preached about you. I've talked about how much you've helped me with
I saw Ava.
Yeah. So you were like you were my in-game therapist, and like bouncing off of the friendships too. Like Maddie, I did not have anyone to talk to the way I talked to you, you know? And even after the games, like talking about what we went through and like what I was dealing with and stuff, you were one of the only people that I could truly talk to about how I was feeling. So thank you. I'm just gonna say thank you. I'll leave it at that. And I love you so much. Like you deserve all the credit in the world.
I feel like Maddie was kind of like everyone's mother. When it got to the island and after the island, we would all come to her and just like get life advice.
Yeah,
you guys are so sweet. And like honestly, like to me, and I saw your little chapter in your podcast and I like it made me cry, and I literally texted Jeff and I said what she said is exactly like what winning was to me for that experience. Like that is everything. If I could impact one person that way, it would be worth it to me tenfold over and over again. And I think that that's how a lot of us feel about the relationships in general. Like the money is money, but these are like relationships that we would have never ever had the chance ever again. Like the odds of it not happening. So always having an impact like that is like, yeah, that's the only thing, guys. I hope whoever wins this is somebody that we know is like genuine and has like such a good heart. Like that was my only ask, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. With the friendship specifically, there's so many unique friendships, you know, because I would have, you know, never met you in real life. I don't think we would have had a conversation, and none of us live near each other. So it's almost like, you know, I was meant to meet y'all. I was meant to meet all these people.
Right.
Because,
I know.
Yeah, like every friendship that we've all made has had an impact on our outside and like real life. So yeah, it's so awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like you are the type of people that like we're all gonna stay together for a really long time, and like we'll have our reunions and all that. We're not just gonna like go ghost on each other. We're gonna keep on seeing each other for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh,
We're coming to
And I
North
just wanna-
Carolina.
I know. Everyone's got to come hang out with us. And we got to, have some lunchlies and shoot our own commercials since it was never aired. maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were at our table, Maddie, with Karl and Chandler.
No, that commercial was like one of my highlights. I just wish we could see it for our own.
Me
My
too.
kids, every time they see a lunchly at the store, they freak out. That nacho one's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess to wrap things up, I'm gonna roll out the red carpet for you guys. Shout out your social media handles, anything that you guys have coming up that you want people to look forward to. Just go for it.
All right. My Instagram is KP Fuller, and my TikTok is Kenny P Foles. And
Slay.
I'm graduating in May. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to right now.
Hey.
So my Instagram handle is Maddie's_mom. Maddie's the mom. And my TikTok's the same, although I don't think I've posted on there in some time. So lots of Christian mom girly content, the vibes.
Maddie's the mom. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from Kendra and Maddie, the two most awesome people in Beast Games. I'm so glad I got to have you guys on. If you guys like this video, please subscribe to our channel, comment down below. What could they comment down below, guys? Maybe we could let's do favorite player. That's a good one, I feel like.
Ooh,
Yeah, it better be one of us four, but comment down below who your favorite player is, and make sure to like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys soon. Everyone say bye.
Bye.